Ayo! Hello, Fantastics. It's Mr. Clintastik, preparing to dive right back into a Streets of New Capenna limited set review. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so that you know when I go live in the future. So, I've already covered all of the multicolored spells, so you have to look at the replay or look at my new video on YouTube to see that. Now I'm going to go into the monocolored spells, and since on down here we get into, just lines, I'm just going to start with white and go on across. So yeah, let's find these white spells up here and start talking. So it looks like Sanctuary Warden is first up. 4 mana, well, 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 white. Creature Angel Soldier with flying, ETBs with 2 shield counters on it, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may remove a counter from a creature or planeswalker you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. It's a 5/5. So, a 6 mana 5/5 flyer is not bad. That has 2 shield counters on it. I'm putting this at a 4 for me. Like, I just think it's a solid spell, and it can honestly go to higher than that. It just kind of depends on how fast or slow the format is. And it can make tokens as well. So I'm not really impressed with what I'm seeing from green white so far. Um, but who knows? It could prove itself useful. All right, looking for our next white spell in this jumble of madness. Looks like we have a Swooping Protector. 4 mana, 3 generic and a white. Creature, bird, citizen, uncommon. Has flash, flying. When it ETBs, no, it ETBs with a shield counter on it. That's dope. That's going to be great for combat tricks. So even though it's a 4 mana 2/1, just flashing this in, blocking some chump, letting it crash in and die, I'm giving it a 3. I think that's. I'm going to give it a 2.9. Y'all going to hate me for these 2.9s. I think it's right there. I think it's right there. All right. Next we have Illuminator Virtuoso. 2 mana, 1 generic and a white human rogue with double strike. When it becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives. Draw a card and discard a card. It's a 1/1. Hmm. Oh, and you put the 1/1 counter on it. It's it's like a pseudo bear. Like a bear is a 2 mana creature that's a 2/2. So 2 for 2. This is a 1/1 for 2, but it has double strike, so it does 2 damage. And it can get bigger as you improve it. I kind of want to just give it a 2.5. It's not something I'm willing to invest in personally. Next, we have Rumorgatherer. 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 white. Elf Wizard, uncommon, has Alliance. Whenever another creature ETBs under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card instead. So is that just the new mechanic of Alliance? Just mm-hmm. Looking for dang Alliance. If I'm understanding it right, Alliance is just when you play a creature scry, and if you play another creature, draw. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on that. That's what I'm assuming. Let's move on. Oh, yeah. So 3 mana, 2/1 with Alliance. Not impressed. I'll give it like a 1.5 or so. Like the fact that it can potentially draw a card is cool, but it's not a guarantee. Next we have Dapper Shieldmate. 4 mana, 3 generic and a white. Creature human soldier. Common. ETBs with a shield counter on it. As long as it's your turn, it has 2/0. So it's essentially a 4 mana 4/2. Who's impressed by that? Like, it's cool that it has the shield counter, but once that shield counter is gone, I mean, it's just a 4 mana 4/2. Create 2 tokens, scry 1, then draw. That's what Alliance is. God, I'm trying to go back. All right, here we go. Okay, so Alliance is just whenever a creature ETBs under your control, trigger the ability. And so what you're saying is just keep in mind that that's how you can automatically draw a card off of that. I feel you. But yeah, Dapper Shieldmate still getting a 1.5, and the previous card is still getting a 2.5 because I mean, I do think Rumorgatherer has some potential. The fact that you had to support it is my problem. All right, next we have Broker's Initiate. 1 mana white. Cat Citizen, and I guess I could have included this in the multicolored spells because its ability is multicolored. Its ability is 5 mana, 4 generic, a green blue hybrid. Broker's Initiate has base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. Okay, I see you. I see you. And it's a 1 drop 0/4. I'm gonna give that a 2.5. Like in your decks where you just really want to slow the opponent down, I think that's gonna be great. And then when you have the mana for it, it beats face. Next we have Rafines Informant for 2, 1 generic and a white. When it ETBs, it's a human wizard creature. When it ETBs, it connives. It's a 2/1. I mean, I'll give it a 2. Somewhat playable. Boon of Safety. 1 mana, white, instant. Put a shield counter on target creature. And scry 1. 1.5 for me. I mean, support spells are just not high on my list of playables and limited. Like, they really just depend so much on other things. We have Celebrity Fencer, 3 generic and a white. Elf Druid with Alliance. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Celebrity Fencer. 3/2. And it doesn't limit you to non-token creatures either. I'm gonna still put this at a 2. It doesn't have any evasion for me. In a 4 mana 3/2 with no evasion, I might even rank it a little lower. Like if I end up never playing Celebrity Fencer, yeah, I'll definitely rank it lower. All right, now we're getting into the straight list of whites. We have Elspeth Resplendent. Some people calling her Wanda. 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 white, legendary Planeswalker Elspeth. +1, choose up to 1 target creature, put a +1/+1 counter, and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Whew, with a shield counter on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. -7, create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying. Need we say more? Elspeth is a 5. Elspeth is just a bomb. You don't even have to question. Like, what? Now, that's questionable. I could bring this down to a 4.5 because it doesn't pass the Planeswalker rule of protecting itself. But I do like that it comes down and can give you. It kind of can because it can drop down and at least try to find you something to put onto the board. So we'll say 4.5 to 5 for Elspeth. She kind of protects herself. I like her a lot. And I mean, she's definitely going to win you the game if they can't stop her in 2 turns. You make 5/3/3 angel creature tokens with flying. Jeez. Next we have Halo Fountain. 3 mana, 2 generic, and white artifact mythic. Has 3 abilities. Pay a white, tap, untap a tap creature you control. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen. Pay 2 white and tap, untap 2 tap creatures you control, draw a card. Pay 5 white, tap, untap 15 untap creatures you control, you win the game. Okay, I'm gonna give this a 3.5. I think this is. You said bad? I think it's pretty good. It's a 3 mana that can generate tokens, draw you cards, and has a win con on it. Like if it just had the win con on it and draw cards, I might not feel this way. But the fact that it can potentially make you a token every turn, I think that's solid. Next we have Giada, Font of Hope. 2 mana, 1 generic, and a white legendary creature angel, flying vigilance. Alright, that puts it at a 3 for me. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each angel you already control. Then you can tap it, add a mana to cast angel spells. This is pretty high up for me just being a 2-drop 2/2 flyer. Like that ain't bad. I'm gonna give it like a 3.25. It still needs some support, but I think it's solid. Next we have Rabble Rousing, 5 mana, 4 generic, and a white enchantment with Hideaway 5. I've seen Hideaway on cards before, kind of older spells. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost. This is kind of bad for me. Like 5 mana to Hideaway, and you gotta have the creatures in place. I gotta get this like a 2, like a 1.5 to a 2. And I don't mind having to untap my things. Like, hopefully, I will have things to be tapped. Next, we have Extraction Specialist. 3 mana, 2 generic and a white. Creature, human rogue, rare, lifelink. When the ETBs return a creature with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Wow. That creature can't attack or block for as long as you control. What? For as long as you control Extraction Specialists. They. I don't know how to feel about this. Like, it can't attack her. I mean, I guess this is great for ETB triggers, and then when this dies, I get it back. This goes in the 2.9 category for me. Like, 3 drop, 3/2 with lifelink is fine. Not evasive or anything like that. To get a 2 drop from the graveyard is fine, 2 or less. But the fact that it can't attack or block until this leaves kind of just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Next we have Depopulate. 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 white, sorcery. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card. Then destroy all creatures. That's a 5 for me. That's a 5 for Mr. Clintastik. I get to destroy all creatures and potentially draw a card. Boom. Tick, tick, boom. Next, we have Mysterious Limousine, 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 white. Artifact vehicle, rare. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to one other target creature until Mysterious Limousine leaves the battlefield. If a creature is put into exile this way, return each other card exiled with Mysterious Limousine to the battlefield under its owner's control. Crew 2. So it's a 5 mana removal spell. And if you're removing tokens, it's just straight up killing them. I'm gonna give it a 3. I got like the mana cost is throwing me off. The fact that it's a vehicle is throwing me off. I just got to see how it plays. Next, we have Citizen's Crowbar. 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Artifact equipment, uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Then attach Citizen's Crowbar to it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has pay 1, tap, sacrifice Citizen's Crowbar to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Equip for 2. Mm, I think the artifacts that create tokens on their own are decent, especially when they attach to themselves. I'm gonna have to see how this plays out. 2.9, because if it deals with decent threats, it'll be good. Next, we have Patch Up. 3 mana, 2 generic, and a white sorcery, uncommon. Return up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm gonna give this a 1. If it was like 3 cards that are each up to 3 mana or less, cool, but just like that could be one card, 1 for 1, maybe 2 for 1, maybe. And 2 for 1 is gonna be fairly weak. Next, we have Angelic Observer, 6 mana, 5 generic and a white. Angel Advisor, uncommon. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each citizen you control. With flying, it's a 3/3. Ew. Ew. I'm going to give this a 1.9 to 2.9 because it can vary. It's not the worst thing ever. If you can get your spirits, this could end up being like a 2 mana card. I mean, your citizens. Or even a 1 mana card. This could be great. But if you don't have your citizens, it's not great. It's 5 mana 3/3, 4 mana 3/3. Now, once you get it to 3 mana 3/3, you're okay. But there's some work involved in getting it there. Like that kind of card has a card like Angelic Observer has lured me so much because I'm like, okay, I'll just reduce the cost and be able to play it. Next thing I know, my board's empty. I'm having this card and I'm stuck at 5 mana or something. Like it just doesn't always play out to my best benefit. Next, we have Refuse to Yield. 2 mana, 1 white, and a generic instant. Target creature gets +2/+7 until end of turn and untap it. I'll give it a 1.5. I think it's a decent support spell, but support spells solo don't win you the game. Knockout Blow, 3 mana, 2 generic and a white. Instant, uncommon. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a red creature, so it can be 1 mana for red. Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, and you gain 2 life. That's not bad. The life gain part is pretty good. I'm going to give this a 2.9. It's not an automatic destroy spell, and I think it could easily go above 3. And the fact that it deals like it'd be 1 less, 2 less for red, it's just not, once again, it's just not going to win you the game. It's not going to deal with everything on the board, but it's going to deal with enough, in my opinion. Did I miss one? All right. We have Ballroom Brawlers. 5 mana, 3 generic, 2 white, creature, human, warrior, uncommon. When Brawlers attacks, Ballroom Brawlers and up to one other target creature you control both gain your choice of first strike or lifelink until end of turn. It's a 3/5. I'm giving that a 1. I don't like it. 5 mana for a 3/5 with no evasion? Get out my face. And it's uncommon? That's even more disrespectful. Next we have Mage's Attendant, 3 mana. 2 generic and a white, cat rogue uncommon. When Mage's Attendant enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue wizard creature token with pay 1, sacrifice this creature, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. It's a 3/2. A 3 drop that makes a creature token, it's not bad. It's not bad. The, I'm gonna give it a 2.9. It's just not that. It's just not that oomph I'm looking for. It's like, I'll play it if I have to. Like if I need something else in my deck, but I'd rather play this already. Sky Crier. 2 mana, 1 generic and a white bird citizen. Flying, lifelink. Pay 4, 3 generic and a white. You and target opponent each draw a card. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. But to have a 2-drop 1/1 lifelinker, I think it's solid. The ability kinda sucks. Like that ability was like the tap ability from Kamigawa. Cool. If it was pretty much anything else besides me giving my opponent's cards, cool. So I'm gonna have to give this a 2.9 as well, because it's not even a bear. The evasion is what I'm liking. So if you can put this in the air and start like yeah, and pump it or something, you're getting great value. But otherwise, kill shot, destroy target attacking creature for 3, 2 generic and a white. Okay, that automatic 3. I mean, it's not like specific damage. It's destroy target attacking creature. Like, get out my face. I love those. Next we have backup agent, 2 generic, no, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white human citizen. When the ETBs put a 1/1 counter on target creature, it's a 1/1, so it can be a bear. It can be a bear. I'm just giving it a 2. It's just unexciting. That's the thing about a lot of these spells. It's like, they're not going to win you the game. They're not even, this isn't even getting you close to winning the game. Revelation of Power, 2 mana, 1 generic and a white. Instant, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it has a counter on it, it also gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. I'll give this a 2 as well. I think it's a decent support spell. Next we have Gathering Throng, 3 mana, 2 generic and a white, human citizen. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for any number of cards named Gathering Throng, reveal them, put them in your hand, and shuffle. And it's common? Okay. I mean, I'll give it a 2.9. Like 2.5 to 2.9. If you can jam these, I mean, what? You refill your whole hand with 3/1s. Granted, you got to pay the 3 mana, but they're human citizens. This would pair well with the card from before where it's 1 less for each citizen or whatever. Maybe. I don't like that it doesn't have any evasion. And it's not going to scare your opponent, but I think it's a decent spell. Inspiring Overseer, 3 mana, 2 generic, and a white. Angel Cleric. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. It's a 2/1. This is a 3.5 for me. This is a 3.5 for me. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. It's flying, it draws you a card, and gains you a life. All for 3 mana. Oh, Okay, I see you, white. I see you. Speak Easy Observer. 5 mana for generic and a white. Bird Citizen with flying. ETBs, you gain a life for each other creature you control. Is a 3/3. I'll give this a 2. 5 mana 3/3 is just not my favorite. The fact that it gains you life is fine, but was it worth waiting to turn 5 to be able to play this card? We'll have to see. Hold for Ransom, 2 mana, 1 generic, and a white enchantment aura. Common, enchant creature. Enchanted creature can attack or block, and has pay 7. Hold for Ransom's controller sacrifices it and draws a card. Activate only as a sorcery. 2 mana can attack or block at common level. I'm putting this at 3. 3 really to 3.5. This is going to slow down the opponent significantly early game. And on just whatever. You can slap it down on whatever. And granted, they can sack and draw a card. They made it so expensive that if I see my opponent do that, I'm just going to I'm going to be elated. I'm going to just be excited. Like, yes. Next, we have By Your Silence. 5 mana, 4 generic, and a white. Sorcery, exile, target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a treasure token. Pretty sure I've seen things like this before. I'm going to give this a 2.9 to 3.5. I like that it exiles. I like that it exiles in white. And it's not an enchantment. I just don't like giving my opponents treasure tokens. Not a fan of giving my opponents treasure tokens. Oh, are we done with white already? Okay, so I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. And we're going to come back and we're going to get started on the blue spells. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to help my channel grow in the future. Also, so you know when I go live in the future, if you want to contribute to help the channel grow, you can always email me at Mr.Clintastik, mr.clintastik@gmail.com, or you can sub on Twitch or donate stars on Facebook. As always, you guys are fantastic. I'm Mr. Clintastik. I'm going to be right back to continue the set review.
Mate, shadow like Pico and earthquake. The body ever with my work rate. These cursed blades are dooming you all to a worse fate. Surprise you like a birthday. I hurt, maim, need first aid. You want the shot?